You took your final breath, and the world didn't end. It changed. The warmth drained from your limbs. Your chest fell still. And for a moment, there was silence. Then, the air grew heavy. Time stilled. And standing beside you was a figure. Tall, still, with the head of a jackal, black as obsidian, eyes deep and unreadable. He did not speak. He didn't need to. You already knew his name, Anubis, the god who walks with the dead, the guardian of the threshold, the one who guides the soul to its final truth. You were no longer alive, but your journey was just beginning. You walked beside him, not through a tunnel, not through fire, but through something stranger, the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. A realm of rivers, stars, gates, and guardians. It didn't burn. It didn't scream. It waited. The path beneath your feet shifted like sand. Your footsteps made no sound, and still, Anubis walked, unchanged, steady, eternal. You passed through shadows shaped like memories, faces blurred, moments you'd lived but forgotten. You weren't sure how long you walked. There was no sun, only stars overhead, pulsing in ancient rhythms, marking time the living never learned to count. And then, you arrived. A grand hall, endless in all directions, lit not by flame, but by order. At its center stood a scale, tall, sacred, balanced on a single point of divine precision. This was the hall of two truths. And you were about to be judged. Your heart was taken from your chest. You didn't flinch. You didn't resist. Because you couldn't. This wasn't flesh anymore. It was memory, action, choice. Your heart was everything you had ever done. It was placed on one side of the scale, still beating, still warm. On the other side, a feather, white, weightless, the feather of Ma'at, the divine principle of truth, balance, and cosmic order. This was the test, not of sin, not of belief, but of harmony. Did your life match the rhythm of the universe? Anubis stood beside the scale. He didn't judge. He didn't speak. He observed. He had watched your life, from the moment you drew your first breath to the second you exhaled your last. He had seen you love, lie, hurt, heal, steal, sacrifice. He had recorded none of it, because the truth was already in your heart. You weren't here to confess. You were here to be measured. Beside the scale stood another figure, a scribe with the head of an ibis, Thoth, god of wisdom, of records, of speech and silence. He held a reed and papyrus, waiting to write down the outcome, not for punishment, but for cosmic record. And beyond the scale, crouched something monstrous. Ammit, the devourer, the soul eater. Her body was stitched from fear itself. A lion's forelimbs, a crocodile's jaws, a hippopotamus's hindquarters, the most terrifying beasts of Egypt, combined. She did not threaten, she did not snarl, she simply waited. If the heart was heavy, if the balance tipped, she would feast, and you would be no more. The feather didn't move, the heart pulsed, the scale creaked, just slightly. Your soul trembled, not from fear, but from memory. Everything was being counted. Every kindness, every cruelty, every whispered lie, every truth you held back. You remembered more than you wanted. The friend you failed, the stranger you helped, the moment you chose comfort over courage, the one time you stood when others ran. The scale did not care about excuses, only intent, and Anubis never blinked. In that room, you lived your life again, not in sequence, but in meaning. You saw your mother's face as she held you for the first time. You felt the ache of your first betrayal. You saw the night you cried alone, when no one came, but you survived anyway. You remembered how you looked away when you could have acted. You remembered how you acted when you could have stayed silent. You remembered love and regret. The scale remembered too. Thoth's hand hovered, ready to write. Ammit shifted her weight, nostrils flaring. The feather didn't twitch. Your heart pulsed slower. And then, the scale moved. Just slightly. Just enough. Anubis raised his hand. Not in mercy. Not in punishment. But in confirmation. If your heart was lighter than the feather, the path opened. Not a gate. Not a throne. A bridge. Silent. Waiting. You stepped forward, and Anubis stepped aside. No words. Just passage. Because judgment was not a sentence. It was a reflection. And you had walked in balance. But if your heart was heavy, you felt the pull. Not pain. Not fire. Absence. Ammit rose. She opened her mouth, not to roar, but to end. And she swallowed the heart whole. No second chance. No reincarnation. No punishment. Only a razor point, a soul that could not balance the universe, had no place in it. Thoth recorded the result. Anubis looked away, and the path ahead vanished. Anubis never speaks in the myths. He does not preach. He does not argue. He does not beg. He watches. He weighs. He maintains balance. He is not justice. He is not vengeance. He is truth, given form. A God who punishes no one and saves no one. Because in the end, you are the one who judges yourself. He merely reveals it. The jackal was once feared. It prowled tombs, dug up graves, stalked the edges of death. But the Egyptians didn't destroy it. They deified it. They made the scavenger a god, gave it the power to protect, not consume. Anubis became the symbol of sacred death, not chaos, not decay, order. He was the presence at the edge, the watcher in the dark, the calm voice never heard, guiding the soul to its reckoning. The scale is the heart of Egyptian belief, not sin, not salvation, balance. You weren't judged by whether you were devout, or if you made offerings, or prayed the right way. You were judged by how well your life reflected Ma'at, the harmony of the universe. Did you lie when you could have spoken truth? Did you cheat when you could have waited? Did you feed the hungry? Did you protect the weak? Those were the weights on the scale. Not your status, not your wealth, not your prayers. Only your choices. While you walked through death, the living prepared your body. They washed you, wrapped you, spoke your name. The priests wore the mask of Anubis, not to impersonate him, but to channel him. They became his hands, removing organs, placing charms, binding limbs with linen and spell. They performed the opening of the mouth, so your soul could speak again. Because in the hall of two truths, silence is not enough. Your heart must speak, and your soul must be heard. Egyptian myth does not guarantee paradise. There is no heaven for all. There is no hell for most. There is only the scale, the truth, the weight, the moment. Anubis doesn't plead your case. He does not give you time to explain. He only measures. And once measured, you are either remembered or erased. Anubis is not gone. His image lingers, in tombs, in carvings, in dreams. He waits on the edge of memory, watching humanity forget what it used to believe. That death is not a punishment. It is a passage. That judgment is not cruelty. It is truth. And that no one escapes the scale. Not kings, not slaves, not the devout, not the defiant. So when your time comes, when the breath leaves your lungs and the silence begins to fall, don't look for fire. Don't look for angels. Look for the jackal. He will already be walking beside you, not to punish, not to save, but to weigh what remains, and show you, with perfect silence, what you've always carried in your heart. If that journey through the Duat stayed with you, don't walk away in silence. Like the video to keep the balance. Subscribe for more mythologies that still whisper through the dark. And tell us in the comments, would your heart pass the scale or be devoured? Because on this channel, the myths don't end, they return.